It's operated by the Iron Ore Company of Canada. The company wants to shut it down, but the National Transportation Agency says no. Peter Ryan reports.
Passenger trains have been running between western Labrador and northern Quebec since the 50s. Back then, the train was a popular way to travel. Now, fewer people are riding the rails. Those who do enjoy the relaxed atmosphere, it's enough to keep bringing them back.
We put our car on the train every year and then fly down and usually get the train back. If we can't get on the plane and they don't mind it, they seem to enjoy it. So you can sneak a kettle of beer on the way. Yeah, so, well.
It's easy to see why the train ride has become a tradition for some people. It's unique, a ride with a difference.
Oh, dear Bob, many times.
The train can stop just about anywhere, and usually does. This Quebec-Inu family was ready and waiting to get off. The train allows them to get to their camp in the bush. This time, the train stops to let a couple finish the trip to western Labrador by canoe. Along the route, there's plenty of scenery to attract people's attention. The most popular sight along the way is this waterfall in the middle of the wilderness. The engineer slows the train to a crawl so passengers can snap some pictures. The tourists love it.
They talk about it, show it, because that, after all, unites the Canada, unites us from Toronto. We came here to see more of Canadian country, and it's really beautiful.
It's very important to have the train service going up there, and it's very beautiful scenery.
While the tourists love the train ride, it's causing headaches for the operator, the Iron Ore Company of Canada. It's losing more money every year.
In 1989, the cost of the passenger service to the Iron Ore Company of Canada was in the vicinity of $3 million. So it is certainly a costly undertaking for us.
And losing money is even harder to take, considering the rail line was built to move iron ore, not people.
Well, the primary purpose of the Quebec North Shore and Labrador Railway is for the transportation of ore to our Sept-Îles project for shipping. And I guess just the fact that we were in an isolated area and there were very few methods of transportation into the area, it was a cheap method of transportation for people, that the passenger service became one of the more popular ways of traveling.
The rail line stretches from Sept-Îles to Shefferville, a distance of 600 kilometers. At around the halfway mark, a branch line runs into Labrador City. For the 1,100 people of Shefferville, the train is vital. It's the only surface link in and out of the community. But it's a different story in western Labrador. 3 years ago, a road was built linking Labrador and the province of Quebec. Now most people use the road, even though it's in poor shape.
Transporting from Montreal to Quebec City and likewise is much faster by using the road as comparing to the train movement of freight. We're probably saving our customers a day, probably even 2 days at times by using the road.
IOC thinks the passenger trains have outlived their usefulness. The National Transportation Agency disagrees. In its decision, they gave a number of reasons why the train must stay. Airfares in and out of Shefferville cost a lot more than the train. The Labrador-Quebec highway is only paved halfway. The gravel sections are often in poor condition, and the train is seen as being vital to tourism. But keeping the trains rolling is costing a lot of money. The service is losing about $1 million a year. But the Iron Ore Company is not shouldering the full loss. For the past 5 years, Ottawa has been footing 80% of the bill. IOC says the subsidy must continue.
We are awaiting the response to our request for a subsidy, and without an 80% subsidy, I really don't see how the Iron Ore Company could continue to offer its passenger service.
The company has applied for continuation of the subsidy. They're still waiting to hear from Ottawa. But the key question is, how can a private company like IOC be forced to keep operating a service that's losing millions? That's something IOC is still trying to come to terms with. They're now deciding whether or not to file an appeal, challenging the decision that's locked them into running the trains for another 5 years. Peter Ryan, CBC News, in Labrador City.
It's